Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's great to see you. This is a sun reading. Yesterday I did the moon reading. This is the energy from the sun as a balance to yesterday's reading. So first of all, we have the energy of a fluorite crystal coming through today. So there's a lot of energy coming through, and it's all coming through like books. So there is a poem, I guess it's a poem from the Tao Te Ching that I want to read, but first I will read a little bit from the fluorite description from the Crystal Bible. So fluorite is highly protective, especially on a psychic level. It helps you to discern when outside influences are at work within yourself and shuts off psychic manipulation and undue mental influence. This stone cleanses and stabilizes the aura. Used in healing, fluorite draws off negative energies and stress of all kinds. It cleanses, purifies, dispels, and reorganizes anything within the body that is not in perfect order. This is the best crystal to use to overcome any form of disorganization. So there's a lot here about like integrating spiritual energies. It has a stabilizing effect emotionally, helps you to understand the effect of the mind and emotions on the body. So the green fluorite specifically grounds excess energy, dissipates emotional trauma, and clears infections. It is particularly effective at absorbing negative energies within the environment. It brings information up from the subconscious mind and accesses intuition. It is an effective auric, chakra, and mental cleanser, dissipating obsolete conditioning. And of course, with the purple, it's psychic communication, third eye, common sense as well. So anyway, it has a lot to do with sort of like reorganizing any energies that have become disorganized in whatever way. And it's clearing out some sort of negative influence, which is really interesting. I'm getting kind of this energy here of like, there are two passages, I guess, from this book that are coming through. This one is called Hardness, and it's number 76. So it says, living people are soft and tender. Corpses are hard and stiff. The 10,000 things, the living grass, the trees are soft and pliant. Dead, they're brittle and dry. So hardness and stiffness go with death. Tenderness, softness go with life. And the hard sword fails, the stiff trees felled. The hard and great go under, the soft and weak stay up. Which is really interesting because the first alchemy card that you have here is the gold card, which talks about like gold is one of the softest metals. It's extremely malleable, which is what makes it valuable. So there's something here as well about, there's just like a little footnote to add to this passage that says, in an age when hardness is supposed to be the essence of strength, and even the beauty of woman is reduced nearly to the bone, I welcome this reminder that tanks and tombstones are not very adequate role models, and that to be alive is to be vulnerable. So there's something here about softness, of being pliant or quote unquote weak and vulnerable. That was also a theme in yesterday's reading as well, like how emotional strength comes from vulnerability. So maybe there's, especially because this is a sun reading, it is talking about masculine energy. I feel like maybe there's an energy here of like perhaps healing or clearing out or shifting perhaps a mindset about what strength is. And especially in terms of like vulnerability and how those two things are interconnected. So there's something about that. Being soft and pliant is actually something of value, is how it's coming through. So it's coming through with like, what is it that you value as well, is what I was getting with this energy. Sorry, I had to pause there because there was some noise in the background. But the gold card, as I was saying here, it's asking the question, what is it that you value? Or what is valuable to you? That's interesting. Because the first card here, you have the rooster and the sunflower, which says communication. But for me, it just went silent for a second. Because, well, one thing that I value is silence. I also value communication, though, but there's always a balance between those two things. So maybe you're coming out of a period of silence or quiet contemplation of some sort or solitude. But there's an energy here of wanting to communicate something or take some sort of action here with the rooster. Because this to come out in a masculine energy reading is very appropriate. But I feel like there's something here about like, because at the bottom of the deck there's the moth and the eucalyptus, the ending. It's so interesting because the moth also came out in the moon reading yesterday. Different deck, but the moth was still there. And it was talking about an ending, a death energy. That's really interesting because I'm using a different deck as well. So there is a significant ending happening. You also have here the spring card at the bottom of the Alchemy deck, which talks about, so the end of winter is how it's coming through. I was seeing a snowy landscape, but there was a body of water that was thawing is what I was seeing. And something was coming up from the surface of that, because it also is coming through, especially with the fluorite. There may be subconscious energies that are coming up to the surface in order to be integrated in some way, or to be worked with, or that it could also be something here with because you have the 7 of trees at the bottom of the deck. Like perhaps something that was planted a long time ago, or like seeds that were planted a long time ago that are, because it's spring, are now like starting to grow, is how it's coming through. So it is coming through with a lot of positive energy. However, with the fluorite here and the other 2 animal cards that you have coming out, so you have the quail and the gooseberry, which is anticipation, and the trout and lily of the valley, purification. I was also seeing fish in this pond, which is so interesting. Purification. So with the fluorite crystal, there's an energy here of like purifying some sort of energy or clearing something out. It feels to me more just like some sort of like perhaps like a mental block about a certain situation, or like seeds that were planted a long time ago that are starting to sort of grow. But I feel like there's like a mental block somewhere of like somebody has some sort of perhaps like belief about a certain situation that is causing resistance or that needs to be cleaned up in some way. It may have to do with fear or just... I don't think it's fear. I think it's more just like a belief that someone has. That perhaps is not true, but it's something that has been believed for a long time, is how it's coming through. Anyways, so if we get into the tarot, so we have the Dreamer and the Protector coming out with the Two of Cups. So the Dreamer is the Queen of Swords in this deck, and the Protector is the King of Wands, which is so interesting because of that poem that I read with the golds, the hardness versus softness, because both of these energies can be quite... with the Queen of Swords, right, can be sort of in a shadow energy, can be sort of harsh, is how it's coming through. And the King of Wands can also be that as well. But I feel like there's an energy here of like making both of these energies softer, or a softer representation of these energies, especially with the Dreamer card, because I was kind of getting this energy of like, if you imagine like a plane, like an airplane that is trying to land, but there's no space at the gate currently. So it's kind of like they're just flying around the airport until space opens up, is kind of how it's coming through with the Dreamer today, like needing a soft place to land. And it's specifying like a soft landing. It's almost looking to me now like the Protector here, the King of Wands energy, is clearing out something, like clearing out space, is how it's looking to me, especially with the Purification. Maybe clearing something out in order to create a soft landing. That might be the ending energy for this Two of Cups. And what you have underneath that, because this is feeling like a Two of Cups energy. Because this feels like this. So this one, I love this card so much. It talks about intimacy and vulnerability as well, which has been a huge theme recently. But underneath that, you have karma and the Ten of Swords, which is interesting, because the Vulture coming in again is another energy of purification, right? Like, there's something about that word that like is kind of off to me. It's more so just like cleaning something out, right? Like cleaning a space, or restoring the energy, or like repurposing the energy in some way, or just like getting rid of something that's no longer necessary, whatever that is. It's also kind of coming through because this can also look like a very harsh energy, but it's wanting to come in very soft today. Like, it's like, it feels like clearing out some sort of like harsh patterning is how it's coming through. Like making it much softer or easier to work with is how it's feeling to me. Like, clearing out some sort of harsh patterning. So that could be, especially with both of these cards, the Justice card and the Ten of Swords, that's all in sort of like the mind space, right? So softening some sort of harsh way of thinking, or some sort of like harsh patterning is just how it's coming through today. The King of Wands, I feel like, is also, because it's coming in with this protector energy, it talks about like pursuing whatever ideas it is that you are receiving, because there's an energy or an aura of protection around some sort of like creative venture or like project that you're working on or whatever it is. So I feel like that's encouragement to do that. And it's interesting that it's coming out here. So you have the Two of Cups and the Eight of Cups that was coming out underneath. So what I was seeing is that like a body of water that had been frozen, but that it was starting to thaw. And at the, like, somebody went into the body of water is actually what I saw. And that was bringing up a boat from the bottom of the it wasn't an ocean, the lake floor or whatever it was, bringing something up from the bottom of the water is what I was seeing here. So it could be some sort of like resurfacing of the boat. Can be so many things symbolically, right? But it's kind of just coming through as like, but I feel like it's like the action of this one that's causing something to resurface, or and again, that could be subconscious energy as well. So it could be that like maybe you're creating something, or you're doing some sort of action with the King of Wands that has to do with creative energy or creative flow, that is causing something to thaw, or that there's like subconscious energy that's being brought to the surface in a way that's helping somebody to communicate something, is how it's coming through. Perhaps in a Two of Cups relationship, or just any relation, in all relationships in general, if it's not a specific relationship for you. But there is an energy here of like the anticipation of like you have to wait for something, is how it's coming through. Like, because I feel like there's an energy of purification sort of in the environment, is how it's feeling to me, where it's like, again, with sort of like that airport analogy, where it's like you have to wait for the gate to open up. So, but is there there's some sort of anyways, with the cards coming out next, you have here the Two of Embers and the Nine of Birds. So this is the Two of Wands in this deck, which talks about planning, right? So there could be like making plans towards whatever this is. But with the Nine of Swords coming out underneath that, there may be anxiety about the plans, like especially with the anticipation card, because that could, if you're waiting on something, or if you've been waiting for something, there could be this energy of anxiety that gets stirred up as well, which I feel like is totally normal. But as I've said in previous videos, like, if you're feeling anxious about something, then it's not the right time yet, right? Like, it's preparation, but it's not quite the right time yet, is how it's coming through. I can't wait till Mercury retrograde is over, because I feel like there's something here about like someone's waiting for that. Some sort of like retrograde energy perhaps, or just like there's just something that needs to play out. Perhaps that has to do with purifying some sort of energy that's, I don't know, waiting for a gate to open up is how it's coming through. Waiting for a gate to open up. The next card out you have here is the Eight of Embers and the Four of Embers underneath that. Because and this is coming out underneath the purification, that there's something in the environment that's feeling like a storm is how it's coming through. Some sort of stormy energy. With the Four of Embers especially, because this one talks to me about finding sanctuary within the storm. Like finding a safe place to sort of wait it out is how it's coming through. While like it feels kind of like an environmental factor. It's interesting. I feel like this is, if this reading is resonating for you, I feel like this is not your energy. This is not even, I feel like this is not even within your space either. It's feeling like it's like with the airport, like the city, the destination that you're in is not the problem, or that's not where the storm is, I should say. It's the destination that you're going to. There's a storm on that side, in that city, where you're going to. So it's like having to wait out the storm that's in the place that you're going to is how it's coming through. Oh, that's interesting. And what the storm on that end is these two cards, which again are probably the two most difficult cards in this deck, including the Ten of Swords, but these two are like my least favorite cards in this deck. The Five of Swords and the Five of Pentacles. So this is the storm. This is something that is being purified or removed or dealt with in some way. The Five of Pentacles in this deck talks to me about like there's some sort of harmful energy in the environment that's preventing growth or preventing abundance or preventing some sort of energy of expansion, because it's like the word that was coming through is pesticides. Okay, sorry, I'm getting sort of like a... Okay, sometimes I've watched shows. For this case, it's the Three Body Problem. That's just been on my mind since I've watched it. It's like I can't stop thinking about that show and like what it meant for me. And because it was one of those just moments that expanded my consciousness in a way. So anyways, pesticides is relevant. I'm not going to go through all that because I feel like it's not relevant to you in this reading. It feels more just like, you know, when someone is, this energy feels destructive. And you know when, for example, if someone's going through like a cancer treatment, right? Like there's a cancer within the body, metaphorically, where it's like the treatment for that, it's like there is a targeted approach in terms of like removing a tumor, for example. But also part of the treatment is just like blasting the body with chemicals. So, which is kind of like the pesticide energy, which is not targeted at all. It's like in order to get rid of the cancer, so to speak, you have to blast the entire body, including the healthy cells, with the chemical and hope that the cancer dies first, right? Like that's sort of what's coming through here, where it's like even the healthy cells are being affected by whatever this energy is, the toxin, the harmful whatever energy. And it's kind of like in order to get rid of the harmful energy, there's also almost like the healthy cells are being affected as well, is kind of how it's coming through. in the hopes that the healthy cells will be able to bounce back, right? Once the treatment is over. So that's sort of how I'm seeing this. With the trout energy, the purification, it's like there may be an energy in an attempt to eliminate the unhealthy or the quote unquote cancerous tumor cells. All of the healthy cells are also going through some sort of treatment that feels extremely unpleasant, but with the understanding and the hope that once the treatment is over, the healthy cells will bounce back, right? They'll get through whatever the treatment is kind of how it's coming through. So that's sort of how the metaphor that I'm seeing with this. This is unpleasant energy. Anyways, with the last two cards you have, here's the 10 of trees and the life map, right? So both of these are 5s and going into the 10s, right? So it's kind of like there's a significant change or transformation happening with the 5 energy, because this is an energy of change, right? There's a significant change happening that feels extremely unpleasant in some way, but that it's leading into sort of like a 10, which is a completion of that energy. The 10 of trees is so interesting as well, because it was again coming in with this energy of like, what is it that you value? Because it's not necessarily material, right? With the gold card, it's also coming through with kind of this energy of like, what does freedom mean to you? What does like true freedom mean to you? And that's going to depend on the individual. The life map to end it, this is the Wheel of Fortune as well. So it's coming through with a lot of energy here of like fate, of things that are written. And of course, there are, I believe, some events that are inevitable for us to experience that are already written, that are part of our life map. But there is also free will. There is a way that you can work with that energy that brings in your choice and your freedom as well. So it's kind of coming through like that. I feel like maybe there's a purification energy happening in terms of like, what is it that you value? What does freedom mean to you? Because that's what will survive, quote unquote, or that's what will get through or bounce back after some sort of like difficult period of quote unquote treatment or purification, is how that's feeling to me. So I'm going to end it there. If this reading resonated with you, please like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. It helps so much. Thank you for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.